There's a parable I heard recently of a monk and a businessman in ancient times. And the story basically went that these two sort of grew up together, went to school together, but then went separate paths once they were adults. One became a monk, one became a businessman. And the businessman was walking along the street one day when he came across his old friend, who he hadn't seen in some years. And his friend was in like tattered robes, begging for alms on the street. Um, and living a very austere life. And the friend actually invites the monk invites the businessman back to his place, which is like this broken down hovel, and they end up basically eating beans and rice, very simple meal. And the businessman updates the monk, and he tells him, look, you wouldn't have to eat beans and rice if you just learned to cater to the king. Like it's super easy. You'll live in luxury, you'll have a great life. All you have to do is cater to the king. And the monk simply responded, you wouldn't have to cater to the king if you learned to live on beans and rice. And so this made me really think, so many things that we take for granted as objective, such as, oh, I'll just cater to the king and have some money and live a good life, are actually matters of opinion, not matters of fact. And some people would rather live on beans and rice than cater to the king, and some people would rather cater to the king than live on beans and rice. And neither of them is wrong. And so, in the same way, before you get embroiled in some kind of argument or disagreement, just ask yourself, like, is this even worth getting into a fight about? It's just a matter of opinion. Nobody's really right or wrong. It's just a preference. And on the other hand, it also shows you that you can make a choice, but there will always be trade offs, right? Nothing comes for free. So, yeah, you can choose to pursue lots of money, but what are you trading for that? Or you could choose to pursue something other than money, and what are you trading, right? So, you might make a lot of money, but maybe you're really stressed, and maybe that affects your health. Or maybe you're super healthy, but you have to like live on beans and rice, whatever it might be, right? Um, so it's just worth considering in advance and making your choice and sticking with it, and knowing that the people who've made a different choice are no better or worse than you. They've just chosen differently, and that's okay. Everyone has their own opinions, right? Everyone has their own preferences, and everyone's life is so different that what's good for them is not necessarily good for you. So when you're giving advice to someone, first of all, make sure they've asked you for advice. If they haven't, then why are you offering it? It's unsolicited. But ensure that the advice you're giving them isn't so tainted by your own life, right? Like, try to figure out, well, what is the advice I can give them that's agnostic of my life that could help them regardless of the situation they're in, right? Advice that would help them with how to think for themselves rather than what to think instead.